this is a guy from a family of 16 whose father is a candle maker, so they had enough to eat, but that was in the American colonies, the lowest of the crafts positions possible. And here's a guy who's a member of the Royal Society in Britain for his experiments with electricity, who creates the American Post Office, who founds the University of Pennsylvania. It boggles the mind. Winners and losers, you don't need that. The easy advantage it gives you, that it gets a little bit of the juices flowing, soon vanishes when the winners turn out to be the winners every time. And you have to lie and say, if you just try a little harder, if you're gonna play winners and losers, get the kid in a business at age 6 like Warren Buffett was. If he wins, he'll come home with money. And if he loses, you can figure out how to solve that problem. He's doing something wrong. Well, at that point, I'm going to terminate this, although I would be happy to stay as long as anyone wanted. But I have a feeling that somehow or other, the management wants this terminated, or am I wrong? I hope. Do they have some time to say things? Yeah. My ears are all stuffed up, but I heard the word facility. In the back, I see a hand, unless it's somebody yawning.
What can we do?
Oh my goodness, you've already done the biggest part. In the face of tremendous prejudice and suspicion, you have said, sorry, not for me, with your kids. At this point, you're in gravy. There's really so many things you can do right that you hardly have to get a recipe from somebody else. I mean, the core of the recipe would be a huge amount of raw experience. Words don't mean a thing. The abstractions, they don't mean anything unless you have experience. You can pass tests with them. What does the word democracy mean if you think that Great Britain is a democracy and 88 out of every 100 people didn't want to sign on to a war in Iraq? And what kind of a democracy is that? I mean, it's absurd. Well, you can do a lot of things, though, and there are millions of homeschoolers who've written about what they've done. What you have to do is what every philosopher in human history, no exceptions to this, say is the most important thing. There isn't a formula that fits everybody. That's why your fingerprint's not like anybody else's fingerprint. You have to have self-knowledge. You have to study yourself, and you will tell yourself how to develop your gifts. You know much more about your son or daughter than they do, because you know yourself, you know your husband or your wife, you know both sets of grandparents, and you probably know associated family members. You sort of know the gifts that pass down through your family. It doesn't mean your kid has to follow those, but now if you keep your eyes open, your kid will tell you what he or she wants to do. Everyone has a calling or several callings. They may not know it themselves, but you know them, as I say, better than they know themselves. And you can nudge a little bit. You can set up experiences. You can show them how easy it is not to be a child, but to go right for the top. You want an apprenticeship in a television studio? Go to some big local television star and say, I have an idea that I think would be very good publicity for you. I would like to be your apprentice for a couple of weeks and make a small film or even a slide sound show called A Day in the Life of Nicole Kidman. Okay. And why not? What a great actress. Anyway, you say, and what I will do then is I'll put a copy of that film in every school that I can afford to, and I'll raise money and try to put it in every secondary school. And then the newspapers will say that you've become a piece of school curriculum and that you are clearly community-minded and valuable. Did I make that up on the spot? No, one of my girls did that with the hottest TV anchor in New York City, who had hung up on her until we worked out a plan to find out where she lived, and then leave a gift in front of her door every day, which drove her insane. So she finally called and said, you can come in for one day. And I said, now you got your foot in the door like a good salesman. If all you do is take, you know, they'll gladly get rid of you. But suppose you went in with an offer that you could make this person look good to a segment of her audience. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, you always go for real accomplishments, not simulated accomplishments.
We can. We will take some questions and answers. If anybody has to go and they feel like they don't want to hang around, you're free to leave. You're not bound to stay, of course. Okay, we're going to just thank John very much for coming and for presenting to us a wonderful message.
If you do have to get back for your kids or for whatever, the girls are standing over near the entrance, a little bit further over to your right with some boxes. If you're not coming back tomorrow, it would be appreciated if you could put your name tags in there so we could recycle them. There's also some feedback forms on the bench. If you are coming back tomorrow, don't worry about it, and we're going to do this again after the question and answer session tomorrow. How about we just take 30 seconds if people want to get themselves settled or they want to go. But other than that, I'm going to bring this microphone down into the audience. And if you've got questions, use the microphone. It's going to be a little easier for John to hear, and it'll be a little easier for everyone else.